All right, guys, so we're on the range today. We've had several questions from people wondering the proper way to sight in a Handgun Red Dot. So I have my Glock here, should be pretty much sighted in already, but we're gonna go ahead and double check it. It's a good thing to periodically double check it, maybe when you replace a battery, at least every once a year, or even more often than that, just double check things. So if this was a brand new dot that I'm putting on a handgun, what you could do is, if you have, say, suppressor height sights like what I have on this Glock, co-witness the sights with the dot, adjust the dot to where it lines up with the iron sights, and that'll get you somewhat close. So that's a good starting point. It's kind of like bore sighting in my opinion. And then at that point, go to the range like we are today and just double check everything. What I recommend as far as distances is it really just depends on the application. So a lot of guys just have that hard number. You know, maybe I zero all of my handguns at 25 yards. I would recommend just base it off of whatever your application is. So if this is going to be a bedside gun, you probably have a pretty good idea of, if you needed to use this gun, what the distance would be inside your home, or if you're planning on using it outside, whatever the case may be, or if you're a competition shooter. So just zero it for those distances. And like I said, it could be subjective for each handgun depending on what the application is. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get some shots off today. We're gonna test this out. Right now I'm just using 115 grain cheap ammunition, FMJs, but you would really want to zero this as well. Double check zero with whatever type of duty ammunition you're going to be using. So generally I carry 147 grain. That's probably pretty common for most people. And generally when people go to the range, they're shooting 115, 124 grain, just because it's going to be a little bit cheaper. So that heavier bullet's going to fly a little bit slower, and so your trajectories might be a little bit off. So that's always something to double check as well. So let's go ahead and see where we're at. All right, guys, so we're like 15, 20 paces away. The reason I set this distance is for, like I said, the application of this handgun. This is probably a distance that I would suspect. So let's go ahead and get some shots on target and see where we're at. Let's go up here and check it out. All right, guys, so we're gonna mark out these shots that we hit here just so we can keep track of everything. So we are using cardboard today. Most civilized people would do like a target or something fancy. Normally we'd be shooting cow manure. So today we got pretty fancy with this used piece of cardboard, but whatever you have will work just fine. So as you can see, I do have a couple flyers out there. I'm probably shooting a little bit high. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna apply probably 2 clicks to move that dot down, and then we're gonna readjust and get some more shots down range, probably 4 or 5 shots, and see where we're at. I just did a couple clicks in there, kind of out of habit. I either take my hand or back a screwdriver and just kind of tap on the optic just to make sure everything's set in place. So probably not necessary, but it is old habit. All right, guys, we made our adjustments. Let's get a couple more shots on target and see where we're at. Okay, so I feel pretty good about that grouping. We got 2 stacked in right there, got another one right there. Do have a flyer right there, just a poor shot, I guess. But ultimately, I feel pretty comfortable with that grouping. What I'm gonna do here now is, because I have these steel targets set out, just gonna spend some time maybe drawing from a holster and running the gun a little bit just to make sure that I do feel comfortable with where that zero is. Another thing to keep in mind is some people would go to the range, maybe they shoot from a rest, bags, tripod, whatever the case may be. And in my opinion, especially for the case of a handgun, that's fine to get true mechanical zero and kind of see where your bad habits might be. But ultimately, you're going to be the guy that's using this gun. So you need to go shoot the gun. Maybe you're missing low and to the right consistently. That might tell you something about your overall mechanics of shooting. but you need to zero it for how you shoot the gun, which may be completely different from mechanical zero. It just depends on how much time you want to spend on really getting your mechanics dialed in. At the end of the day, go out there, train, get better with your handgun, and make sure your dot's zeroed.
Dude, just look at that.
Wow, that's cool.
That's so cool. Could have said it better myself. Wowza. Wowza.